Hello, Mark here. I am at the photo studio that is the Action Figuratorium, and I recently acquired, yes, another action figure. It's mind-blowing, I know, but when you set yourself up for these eBay alerts and something comes in the morning and you're like, what's this all about? Well, you end up with something like this. This is a Iron Maiden Eddie made by Neca, 8-inch. Try not to get the glare on it. 8-inch action figure of the Trooper. As you know, I am a huge Iron Maiden fan. That was the very first concert I ever saw as a kid. I went to somewhere on tour in, I think it was like 1987 or so. Saw them in Minneapolis, had seats right on the floor. And the song that made me want to pick up a guitar and play guitar was The Trooper by Iron Maiden, and I could not wait to get the tab book to figure out how to play it. So this is going to be a lot of fun opening this guy, and also if you like this and you want to see the other Iron Maiden figure I picked up, the Power Slave 8-inch action figure, the sort of the Pharaoh mummy, well, you can check that out too. But that's all coming up today on the Action Figuratorium. Okay, here we are on the shooting stage, and we've got our figure here. I'd just like to point out that these 8-inch Iron Maiden figures come in these pretty cool boxes where you get a photo on the back. I'm going to bring in this other box from the previous one I bought, which is the Power Slave one, and I think it's worth comparing. So this is the one I recently got. This came up as an eBay alert. This is, I think, about 2 years old. This one's about 1 year old now. And great artwork on the back, photo of the figure. Not a whole lot of copy, which is great. Just keep it succinct. You can see like the artwork on the side of the Power Slave is from album artwork. This is new artwork created by Neca to go with the Trooper, and that is to put a British red jacket sleeve with stripes and epaulets, and the crossed harness the character wears on the front. And these things are meant to hang from pegs. They've got these little peg hangers on them, cardboard. Pretty sturdy boxes. It's got the cool cutout on the Power Slave. This one has got kind of a cool cutout along the artwork on the bottom here. And just like the Power Slave, we're going to open it from the top, and that requires cutting. So we shall do some cutting. A bit of scissors action. All right. A lot of people buy these figures and they put them away on a shelf. They save them, try and get as much money as they can for them later in life. Nothing wrong with that. That keeps the sales of the figures going so that they keep making them. And it also preserves these figures so people can buy them later if they have the money. Nothing wrong with collectors stashing them away. So I have to point out that inside the box is this background artwork, and the background artwork is from the, because originally the Trooper was a single. They made a music video, and I'm sure there's a 12-inch single for it, and t-shirts and album artwork are of this guy right here, and this is more of the artwork. There's the mysterious symbol here that Derek Riggs puts on his drawings. Either that means him or it means Iron Maiden, but it's in all of his Eddie drawings, artwork, painting, etc. So that looks pretty boss. Put that away. The figure comes in this interesting plastic pack, not unlike what the Power Slave figure came in. He has some accessories. We're going to take him out first, and we're going to try and be gentle with it. And we're going to start with pulling the rubber bands in the back off. This is usually the worst part of these reviews, and they oftentimes get skipped by me in editing. Okay, so he's no longer strapped in. No, I take that back. There's another strap back here on the legs. So as I was saying earlier, a lot of people will buy these and they will stash them away, but I am a person who likes to play with the toys. And I buy toys that I like to play with. I don't necessarily buy stuff to collect and put away untouched. All right, so the figure's out. Let's just stand him up here on his mark. And so far, it feels great. There's a test I have where when you pick up an action figure, if it has a certain amount of weight to it, based upon its size, you just get this feeling from it. You get this really kind of warm, fuzzy feeling. So this passes the weight test. It also passes the stands up easy test, which the previous figure I unboxed, Morgulith from Four Horsemen, also had a great weight and also stood up perfectly every time. There was no fighting it. So what I like about these Neca packing inserts is there's a little spot in here for the gel, the water absorbent gel to stash in. I think that's kind of cool. So he's got a flag, just like on the album artwork, and there is a sword. It's taped in, and the sword's kind of thin and whimsical. I don't know if they, is there a specific look to the sword and the artwork? I was gonna say, I don't know if this is a new item, accessory that they made for this guy, or if these guys just have molds for weapons, and one of them is, you know, like a kind of a cutlass saber or something, and they're just like, yeah, make one of those and paint it. The flag is amazing. It's broken and ripped. It's the Union Jack. For those of you who don't know about the Union Jack, that is also the double cross. So a union is two or more people. Two people come together in a union. A jack is also a cross, so a Union Jack is a double cross. Just want to point that out for people who claim that there's not much education in these videos. You're wrong. You're totally wrong. Okay, so I may be in frame here for a second, but don't hate. So let's check this guy out. He's got pants and a jacket. There's no shirt underneath. The body underneath is like a human body painted the same color as this head and arms. And the tunic has been ripped and stained to match the artwork. I don't know, should I pop this up? I don't know if you guys can see the guy down there. So he's got a little bit of a rip and a stain on that side. He's got some stains on his blue pants. He's got the cool stripe. They call that the blood stripe. He's got these, they're called spats, I believe. They go around the ankles, and they provide a whole wealth of military exuberance if you're wearing them. And they just Velcro on, and they're all kind of ripped and cut, and I wonder if there was like some like 10-year-old kid in China who has to rip and cut all these. But like I said, he has a lot of cool weight to him. He feels real good. Oh, look at this. I haven't got to the back yet. He's got a scabbard, and the scabbard actually just, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little indent, and it just actually sticks there. Now, this guy has been sitting in the pack for a couple years, and a little bit of paint has adhered to the scabbard from the belt. And maybe that's because it went together when it was wet. Maybe that's because it's been sitting a long time. There it is. And so you can weaponize this guy however you want. Let's see if we can get this back in. The pack is just a one sort of piece of hard plastic. It's got kind of a cool molding to it. God, I wonder how much the mold for just this thing cost. The fact that they had to make that. This is probably like a $20,000 mold for just this pack. That's kind of nuts. You know, I really want the sword to be my friend. Maybe it's supposed to just glue in, but it's supposed to go there and it's supposed to just stay. So we'll make note of that when we give this stars or not. All right, he's got a cool sort of rubber harness with painted white and to match the artwork, and a little bit of gold detail on it. So they used white paint. They probably just I don't think it came out as a white stained white plastic. I think they painted it. Probably went to some type of spray booth, and then somebody had to meticulously put on the little gold decoration. But it looks really cool. And I don't know if the pack comes off easy. I don't know how where the belt attaches to this, because you could take the shirt off if you wanted to. I'm going to choose not to. You know what this guy needs? He needs more flag in his hand. Yeah. Let's turn around the back and see how they pose him. So they just kind of have him sort of like he's doing this sort of thing. The sword actually looks like it's got blood on it. It looks like it has rust on it. Okay, so here is something unusual, kids. This is going to blow minds, what you're going to see here in this review. Let me just double check the pack real quick before I say anything. So you can see on the artwork that he's holding the flag with this hand and the sword with this hand, like on the original Iron Maiden artwork. The sword hand is on the figure is completely closed, and so you cannot put the sword in it unless you were to break the sword, which I'm choosing not to do unless there's something I should know about it. No. So you cannot actually put the sword, the handle, into this hand because the fingers are closed here. I don't know if there's any good way to show that with this camera, but that means that only the flag can go in this hand. Okay. And the sword can only go in this hand. Not the easiest thing to get in, also like to say that the flag is kind of a spear. It's like a pike. All right, which way does that? All right, so interesting detail that the closed hand is on this side and the open hand is on this side. It's different than the artwork on the back of the box, different than the original Iron Maiden artwork. Is that a big deal? I don't think so. I don't think that should be something you should mark against these guys, but it should be noted. You know, you should at least say that, like, yeah, I noticed that the hands are different, you know. I mean, they spent a lot of time making this figure. I mean, they simulated rips and stains, and man, the work on the head, unless they have a sort of a generic Eddie head that they start with and they just modify it each time. That could be, but still, that takes a lot of work. You know, they probably don't start from scratch each time, but you know, I imagine the sculptor spent a lot of time on this guy, and I think they're probably really, whoever made this at Neca, I think the guy or team is probably really proud of these guys, and I think it just looks pretty fantastic as an action figure. The use of cloth with the plastic, I think that's really cool, and it kind of reminds me of the stuff that Mezco is doing with their Gomez figures, where they're sort of taking these 6-inch guys and they're, you know, putting shoes on them and cloth jackets and whatnot. So let's bring in our other guy, the Power Slave, Pharaoh Eddie, and he's got cloth galore. He's mummified. Man, I wonder what the production cost on these toys are per unit when you take into account the materials used and all the different molds. I mean, this is a great head as well, and it's especially cool that this moves. I could see them doing a figure where this didn't move. You know, I could see a company going pretty all in, but then sort of skimping at the last minute. Let's bring out a couple of boxes. So this is sort of the right now this is the Holy Duo. Definitely the coolest song by Iron Maiden, The Trooper. Definitely the coolest album artwork. The Egyptian Power Slave artwork is man, you just keep coming back to that stuff over and over again. It just works. So, you know, what I'm curious is I wonder what the body underneath the cloth and the mummy guy looks like, because the body on this guy looks pretty, like, even though you can't see him, I looked under there under the jacket and it looked pretty cool. So these two guys are superheroes for the day, and man, I can't recommend the NECA Iron Maiden figures enough. I think a person should try to get as many of these as they can. These are 8-inch, and I think they're going to hold their value. I think these guys are going to become kind of rare, only in that I don't see Iron Maiden being a brand reaching the levels of like Star Wars and Marvel and you know, all the same olds that you see run all the time. And as far as boutique stuff goes, it's really off the beaten path. You know, like, who's gonna have something like this? If you don't like the band, for one, you're probably not gonna have the action figures, right? That's what I'm thinking. So if you guys want a tip on something you are looking to collect, that you can take out of the package, play with, display, and as you can see, it will go back in the package and be ready for resale 10, 15 years from now. You know, whatever that is, wherever that may be. These guys might be something worth looking into. I like both these guys. And I've looked at some of the others that they have. The 2 Minutes to Midnight is the only one that I think is kind of a, I don't want to say scammy, but it's got kind of a sort of non-uniqueness to it. It doesn't appear that interesting to me. But you know, like if you have all of them except that guy, then you you probably get that guy too. So, all right, a little wrap up at the end. We have a Trooper, Iron Maiden Eddie, Neca, and the only thing weird about it really was the backwards hands. The scabbard on the back just plugs into a little indent and it has a tendency to fall off. Looks like the kind of thing that you might want to just put a little dab of model glue on it. Something, maybe even, I don't know, maybe even like some Elmer's wood glue might be all it can take, because it can almost stay in there on its own, but if you do a lot of playtime, as it were, you'll probably want to fix that. But as far as value goes, man, this guy versus the Power Slave one, it's a toss-up as to who my favorite is, because I really love the Egyptian motif, but this is kind of the, you know, this does sort of embody what Iron Maiden was all about in the 80s. That song, The Trooper, and the artwork behind the Eddie at this point with the with the Charge of the Light Brigade look going on. So anyways, if you guys have any questions on the figure, I will be doing plenty of photos with both these guys coming up probably sometime in August, I guess. I'm going to do something with the Playmobil Pyramid and the other guy, and of course we can go outdoors and take a million pictures with this guy just about anywhere. In fact, he should just travel all around and see where he ends up. So that, I'm going to sign off. There are more unboxing videos on the channel. I collect toys, I buy and sell. I do a lot of thrift store shopping. Sometimes I flip stuff, sometimes I keep it. I never really overcharge or scam people. I do a lot of $9.99 figures, things that I find for like a couple bucks each, and I just sort of pass them on. So if you want to, you can look for me on eBay. My username is CoolBots, and check out some of the other unboxing videos. And of course, I've got great photo galleries on the website, actionfigure-atorium.com. You can also find some gallery videos on my YouTube channel. And if you want to see me in the studio with the camera photographing stuff, sometimes I will stream those on Twitch. I used to do a lot more of them. Kind of got tired setting up the cameras and having them go, but it'll come back. Don't worry, come back. So with that, we'll catch you guys on the next one.